Hey guys, this is Troskanari, back again to continue the D&D recap thus far. Uh, I'm recording this on Halloween evening, well, morning. It's 1:46. I forgot how long these videos take to compress sometimes. And in order to celebrate Halloween, I didn't actually do anything. I just sat around reading a lot of creepypasta on the internet, and now I'm thoroughly creeped out. Fucking awesome. Okay. When we last left our heroes, they had just met Ramuff, who was the dwarf cleric. So the party now consists of Ramuff, the dwarf cleric, Vis, the Deva wizard, Lucan, the elf rogue, and Phoenix, the dragonborn paladin. Uh, they continue on their way to Spellguard, these ruins, passing by various landmarks on their way, including the grave of a famous hero. Um, upon reaching Spellguard, they find the ruined city is basically ruined. It's surrounded by a wall that still seems to be mostly standing, and there are two buildings that remain intact. One that appears to be new, which is a tavern called the Monastery of Precipice, and the Scepter Tower, which is claimed to be kept up with magic. They go to the tavern for a bit, chat some of the people up. Vis meets a attractive young. She's pretty much the wine wench. She lives down in the cellar and works with the wine, and she becomes a little smitten with Vis. Also, they meet a group of thugs led by a very cruel-looking man named Devlin, and his goons are a couple of chuckling doofus twins. Having done all that, they figure that after a few very good history checks, the paladin figures that the Lady Saharel appears at the Scepter Tower. So they go investigate that, and while seeing a few very creepy figures, observing them from the shadows, about halfling size, dressed in cloaks, they approach the tower, and as soon as they do, I ask everyone to roll a reflex save. And all of them fail it except for Lucan, who pretty much backflips out of the way, and all of them get nailed by arrows. And they're forced into a retreat, and they discover that the tower is being barricaded from the inside by whoever. Someone has pretty much taken the tower. When they get back to the they get back to the tavern, the Monastery of Precipice. I'm trying to think for a moment, because a lot of stuff happened. They get back to the Monastery of Precipice, and they speak to Devlin. Primarily, Lucan speaks to Devlin, and he tells them that he has a proposition for them. There are a group of halflings up at the ramparts, which are part of the castle wall, and if they talk the halflings into letting Devlin go there to salvage stuff, apparently Devlin has already made enemies out of these halflings, then Devlin, in exchange for a promise to do this, Devlin will give them information on how to get to the tower without getting attacked, and also while discussing around town, they figure out that the person who's barricaded himself in is most likely an individual named Thorin, which would correspond to the person who signed T on the letter. They go to so Lucan actually rolls a bluff check on his on his promise to Devlin and succeeds. So he kind of says, "Yeah, sure, we'll do it." And they go off to go do this. They meet a halfling on their way in who kind of is very confrontative and inquires about what they're doing. And as soon as they spill the beans, the halfling transforms into a wererat and attacks them. And they kill him very quickly. And a group of wererats start charging from the. There's a spiral staircase in the middle of the room, and they start charging from down below. And the the dwarf had previously purchased a huge keg of ale and was kind of just carrying it over his shoulder. So suddenly he, first of all, one wererat runs up and the wizard kind of thunderwave Hadokens him, so he goes careening down the stairwell and collapses in a heap at the bottom. The the dwarf lights the barrel on fire and hurls it like Donkey Kong style down the stairwell, so it smashes at the bottom and the ale catches on fire. And they pretty much burn the wererats alive in what I have dubbed the wererat holocaust. And for the record, everybody in the party is unaligned except for Vise. That's right, the wizard is more morally aligned than the cleric and the paladin. But so they do that. They continue on. They attack another group of halflings, wererats, and a group of fire beetles. The cleric gets bitten and inflicted with filth fever, which basically takes away one of his healing surges, and if the disease progresses too far, he's incapable of healing, which is pretty much a death sentence for the cleric, especially a cleric. But yeah, they find another wererat named Franco. No, Franco, and they take out one of his eyes, and he screams and retreats and like flees the ruins. They figure out there's a room with that they hear talking in. They're deciding, okay, let's see if we can try to be, not get killed because they hear human voices. And so they kind of go in with their bluff checks, and they pretend that they found all the other wererats slaughtered. So they roll really high on their bluff checks. So they convince there's another wererat in the room, and they convince him that they found all these people dead. And in exchange, they manage to also talk the guy into letting Devlin in, but they don't mention him by name. They say, Lucan says his name is Duncan, so he says, we'll let anyone in as soon as once you say Duncan sent us. So with this news and the promise that they can travel through the ramparts. By the way, I completely forgot. The way that Devlin said to get to the tower was going down through the ramparts into the catacombs, through the catacombs, and the catacombs would lead to the tower's basements, which would let you go up through the tower. So having done this, they decide to go back to Devlin. So the party heads back and goes to the tavern. As soon as they get in, they find Chera, the wine maid, who had been smitten with Vise and led to many. The fact that devas are purple led to many grape wine jokes. There was a, and I'm not even mentioning half the fun stuff that happened, like the very beginning when there was the boulder, how Lucan kind of ran on the boulder for a while, and instead of waiting out for the boulder's momentum to stop, Phoenix critted the boulder and sliced it in half with his battle axe, but that's beside the point. Anyway, they as soon as they get back, they find Devlin, and particularly Devlin's goons, harassing Chera, and V steps up to try and confront them, but fails miserably, and Phoenix just kind of walks up behind him and growls and convinces them to put her down. And on the other side, Lucan convinces Devlin that he can go in as soon as he says, Duncan sent me. So this leads Devlin to pretty much tell his boys to back off Chera because they've got bigger fish to fry now, and they kind of walk off to go plan and celebrate. And afterwards, Chera kind of freaks out. She's like, "What if they come back?" And she asks the party to kind of go with her to her room down in the cellar and protect her. So they go down. The entire party goes down with her into her room in the cellar, and she closes the door, and everyone's rolling insight checks, and everything seems legit. And Vise notices that the room is there's a spell placed on the room, but he can't identify it. He keeps trying for a while as Chera begins to question the party and ask them questions about what all's going on. Suddenly, Vise identifies that the spell is a it is warded. It silence warded room, which means no sound can escape the room. And at this point, Chera kind of smiles evilly and transforms, her skin turning from human to this bright white color as she reveals herself to be a changeling. And with that, the changeling warlock named Salus attacks and stabs the she stabs the paladin. She stabs Phoenix in the chest and then crits him with a spell called Contagion, which deals ongoing damage, and with the first failed saving throw, it infects every other enemy nearby. So my plan was to infect the entire party. But so she casts that, and then he succeeds the saving throw, and the entire party proceeds to roll like 18s and 19s, and all just like wipe her out and drop her into the unconscious range in like one turn. So that didn't go as planned. I was really expecting her to at least survive one round. But so they take her down, and upon questioning her, they find out that she in fact is not working for Thorin, and that she's working for her own group, who she calls her masters. And she says that Thorin, if they won't be able to beat Thorin, and pretty much she has her own agenda, and her goal was to see if they were working for Thorin, find out information, and then kill them. Because she was saying, even if Thorin, if you succeed in defeating Thorin, her masters won't fail in killing you. So with that, they can't get any more information out of her, so they decide to kill her. And this leads to a very humorous instance where Phoenix decides the best way to kill her is to hurl one of his spears through her head. So he tries, and fails his attack roll miserably. 3 times, in fact, before finally succeeding on the 4th try and killing her. With that, they kind of go back out into the tavern, pretend nothing happened, and they begin to hear rumors around Tavern that there was a mysterious light coming from the nearby hero's grave, and the heroes decide to go investigate. On their way, they meet the newest member of the party, a human assassin named Regdar, who ironically enough is good aligned, and also ironically enough uses a 2-handed magic falchion. So go ahead and try explaining that one. And he actually has he has high enough constitution to, at that point, out-tank the, pretty much comparatively tank with the dwarf battle cleric, which was really funny. He's actually a really powerful character. And I'll tell you what happens up there, and what happens at the beginning of the catacombs, and on their way there in the next video. I know this is going for a while, but quite a few sessions have passed. I'll see you guys on the next one.